This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
Good morning and welcome to the newspaper analysis segment on the morning drive on Providence Television International. My name is Ubebo Ikikwa and I have with me in the studio the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all our viewers at home and in the diaspora. Thank you.
We'll move us straight to the Vanguard newspapers, where we have on the front page, soldiers, police crack down on protesters in Rivers, Abuja, Kano. Arrest 5 leaders in Kano, stop media coverage of process in Rivers. Panic in Abuja as police tear gas protesters. We'll tie this to the Daily Sun newspapers, where we also have on the front page, police, protesters clash in Abuja. Showore says Tinubu is pushing Nigerians to the wall.
Well, for how long are we continuing to have this? I mean, I thought that the protests would be devoid of this kind of incidents. Little did I know that it was not supposed to be, or it was not going to be. Okay, I don't think that we need all of this, particularly at this point in time, when there's a lot of image laundering to do. Okay, I mean, the government is battling so many things at the same time, and we don't need this kind of incidents. We do not, because it will also rub off on the government's image, both at home and abroad. Okay, so I want to think that these things were not precipitated by reactions from protesters. So far as we know, they were not carrying ammunitions and dangerous weapons, all right? And I think it was peaceful to a very large extent. That's the report we had from across the states. It was very peaceful. So why must we have this kind of mayhem? It surprises me, and I think that the service chiefs, or the military chiefs, or security chiefs, as it were, should be questioned as to this. And I know that a lot of lawyers will also raise issues about this as time progresses.
All right. We've always talked about press freedom in Nigeria. We're going back to the Vanguard, where we have stop media coverage of process. Well, how does it sound to you?
I don't know. We're going back to the dark ages, very dark ages, when the press meant nothing to the administration. I mean, remember during the time of Buhari's first coming, when we had decree number 2, was it? Yes, which came down very heavily on the press.
On the press, yes.
Right. Are we now going back to that kind of scenario? I hope not. Because you see, as Napoleon Bonaparte said, I can quote him, 4 hostile newspapers are more dangerous than 1,000 bayonets. You know what that means? Just 4 hostile newspapers are more dangerous than 1,000 bayonets. And what's a bayonet? That knife you have at the end of the rifle.
Yeah, the rifle. Yeah.
Okay, so, but I think we must learn from history that we don't need to antagonize the press. The press is part of the development process. That's why they are called the 4th estate of the realm. All right, and it's not by accident that they are so called. The Constitution also recognizes the role of the press. So why do we need to antagonize the press? And that's why a lot of people are still talking about President Jonathan. I mean, he gave a leeway to the press. It was a liberal government. And yes, and the press was quite happy with him. Because you see, another danger is, if you allow the press to go into the trenches, that becomes even more dangerous for government. Don't allow them to go into the trenches. Because the press, as you rightly know, could be an opinion molder. All right? That's one of the duties of the press, to mold the society towards a specific end of development. And so when you antagonize them, there will be ripple effects. And I want to talk about the relationship between the press and the minders of the president. They should do their job well. They really should do their job well. They should interface with the press on a regular basis. Now, we are more private organizations than the public media now. So it seems. And so there will always be things that emanate from that part of the press, that sector. of the press in Nigeria. And for how long will you continue to antagonize them? Yes, it's not right. It's not acceptable by our standards. The Nigerian Guild of Editors has gone against this on many occasions. The Newspapers Proprietors Association of Nigeria has gone against this. Even the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, they are certainly against this kind of action. So I suppose government will listen and do the right thing subsequently.
All right. Still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, Independence Anniversary. Atiku Obi say Nigeria is at risk of dictatorship.
Well, I hope he doesn't descend to dictatorship. That's the prayer everybody is putting across. Because you see, there are many countries in Africa that have gone through this road, and it became regrettable at the end of the day. All right? This is a democracy. Nigeria, plus or minus, is the biggest democracy in Africa by virtue of our population. We're talking about over 200 million people, and we really do not need anything that goes in the coloration of dictatorship, because we are too big for that kind of thing. When you're talking about banana republics, yes, you can understand. But it's a huge country with a lot of potentials, very enlightened people in this country. So, and we must build institutions, really. This is where the building of institutions comes in. We must build institutions to ensure that this kind of proclivity or position does not arise on the side of government. Okay. We have a huge population of enlightened people. They should speak out. We do not leave everything to the press. There are many stakeholders in this country who should go against that kind of tendency. We have the religious groups. We have the Nigerian Bar Association. You have the Nigerian Labour Congress. These are critical stakeholders. We should ensure that we do not go the way of dictatorship.
All right. We move down to the Daily Sun newspaper, where we have a second story there. APC admits economic reforms causing discomfort. Details on pages 1 and 6.
We've talked about this. I'm happy it's coming from APC now. They know that, and in any case, they are the ruling party. So coming from them, it gives some authenticity to what people have been saying. And it nurtures the fact that, yes, Nigeria is in dire straits at the moment. It nurtures that fact. And that's why I'm surprised that these issues were not properly addressed in the president's speech. A lot of people have come down heavily on the president's speech on Independence Day. And I'm happy that APC is talking about it now. They also, I mean, in any case, they are Nigerians. They are part of the system. They buy fuel on a daily basis. There are no separate filling stations from APC members. There are no special markets for APC members. We are all in this together. And all hands must be on deck. Now, what I quarrel with is, if they are saying this, why don't they create a forum to address the president frontally? That's when we know that they are serious. I gave an example yesterday of United States, for instance, when the president is a Republican or even a Democrat, and you have members of his own party who apparently may be larger in number, criticizing him the more. I want to see that kind of thing in this country. It's coming from APC. What of their legislators? What are they doing? Are they not Nigerians? Are they not part of this system? Are they not part of the process, the developmental process of this country? I should think that the leader of the legislature, and that's the Senate president, should take the lead in talking to the president that this is not where we should be. Yes, because it is obvious now that APC itself knows that things are not quite as good as they should be. I'm happy about that. They're being honest, okay? So, but they should go a step further. The leadership of the National Assembly should also speak out. Because at the end of the day, we're all in it together.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, we'll move down to the front page of Business Times, where we have Nigeria must further diversify its revenue sources. This is coming from the LCCI. Says developing sectors like solid minerals, gas, and agriculture will reduce dependence on oil revenues.
LCCI, a major stakeholder, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Okay? When they speak, people listen, because Lagos is the hub. It's the hub of the economy of this country, whether we like it or not. It's not Abuja, it's not Kano. Lagos is the hub. And so when they are talking like this, we should listen. And they are saying, look, we should diversify. I mean, I've said it openly here on one or two programs from the station that we can't be too dependent on oil. 95% of our earnings, what has come over us? 95%, or probably more, depending on revenue from oil. If there's a hiccup in oil, Nigeria goes down.
There's a problem.
Nigeria goes down. And we shouldn't, because there are more prospects in the agricultural sector. Only yesterday I talked about it.
Yes.
Carrying it over from times past, particularly from the First Republic. Where are the groundnut pyramids? We can't see them anymore. Cocoa we can't find anymore. Rubber we can't find anymore. Even coal from the east we can't find anymore. I mean, these were earners for this country in times past. Was it not from cocoa that Abafemi Awolowo built Cocoa House? Palm House, yes. Oil palm, yes, that reminds me. We have called it Palm House over the years because the money, Osadebe did it. Yes, to give that name to Palm House, which you have here, which today has become a monument in this part of the country. So we have all of these things buried underneath. Only yesterday I said that, look, the things we have underneath in this country are more than the things we can even fathom. Far more. We have to explore. Years ago, whoever thought that we could have bitumen in Ondo State? Bitumen is the thing you need. It's the raw material for the building of roads, the construction of roads. Bitumen, that's the major raw material. And we have it in excess in Ondo State. In excess. Who could ever have thought a few years ago that we'll have oil, for instance, or clay. No, let me not talk about oil.
Clay.
Clay in commercial quantities in Edo State. Clay is the thing you use, the major raw material for marble. The Chinese are here now. They are exploiting it. And they are employing our boys and girls to work for them.
You also talked about gold that has been mined silently.
Yes. Gold in Zamfara.
Exactly.
Tragically, gold is mined in Zamfara now. And it has become an instrument of sleaze. People mine gold to put in their pockets.
Yes.
How I wish all the money we get from gold will go into the federal purse. Now people come with small aircraft, they go down and they pack all of these things and go away. All right? Where is tin? Jaws used to be synonymous with tin. Manganese. So, where are we?
It really becomes a problem
It
where
becomes a
we
problem.
are so
if we
blessed and
yeah, we are over-blessed. And I think that is why we need leaders who are visionary. Visionary in the sense that, who is the visionary leader? It takes people to places where they are not even thinking of. That's why he's a leader. A leader takes the people to where they never think of, because he knows that that destination will get great results.
Exactly.
Yes. Moses, in the Bible, he knew that taking the people out of Egypt, they will go to the promised land. Yes. So, but what did they do? He committed everything into God's hand. That's what our leaders should be doing. Leadership is all about the synergy between you and God. God should lead you. Yeah. Sometimes our leaders forget that God exists, which is quite a shame. They forget that God, and they forget too that God owns everything. He owns all the resources. So if we place the resources in His hands, He will direct us on what to do. There are look, let me tell you, in Edo State alone, I said this thing about 3 or 4 days ago. In Edo State alone, buried underneath, you have more than 20 different kinds of mineral resources that are yet to be explored. Yet to be explored. I'm not even talking of the country. Yes. What do you need for nuclear reactors? We have everything here.
Well,
Yes.
let us now move to the New Telegraph newspaper. Impending strike, hardship on campuses getting unbearable. Asuu warns Tinubu.
Again, I hope it doesn't precipitate to something else. Who will be the losers? The students and their teachers.
Yes.
Sorry, teachers maybe by way of a fraction, but students and their parents.
Yes.
Ultimately, they will be the losers. All right, and this is avoidable. And I ask myself, there are 2 ministries involved in this conflict: the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Labor. What are the ministers to intervene on behalf of the federal government. They are calling on Tinubu now. I mean, I don't know if that's the right caption. I thought they would have said something against the federal government. But they are pointing fingers at Tinubu, the president. Nobody is pointing fingers at the ministries. All right? And yet there are ministers in charge. Education because, well, as universities are educational facilities. Labor because what is involved now is a labor conflict. All right? It has to do with remunerations and things like that. Where are the ministers? They've gone into limbo. Totally into limbo. Have you heard any comment from these two ministers? And yet they're on board.
No.
Yet they're on board. And we have heard from the president, I think he even mentioned it yesterday, that yes, the system, the whole structure will be turned over for good. We are waiting in the next 2-3 days. I thought that the president should have mentioned that specifically. To even mention the names of ministers who should come in exactly. On anniversary day.
That was actually the expectation of Nigerians.
Yes, they should have mentioned. I mean, if I was the president, I would have announced their sack on Independence Day, and I would have announced people to take charge immediately. So what's the point? I will announce the names of the incoming people and submit their names to the legislature, maybe a day or two after, so that we can keep the system running. That's what leadership is all about. Okay?
Well, talking about leadership, we'll move over to the Daily Independent newspaper, where we have on the front page, Tinubu draws flack over plan to convoke National Youth Confab. Youth Confab will be useless. Implement 2014 National Confab. This is coming from the MBF. And PES says it is designed to divert attention from bad governance. Are you in support of this claim?
Who are the people who are spearheading this bad governance thing? The youths. And then you are bringing them into a conference. Fair enough. I mean, the result is going to be positive.
Okay.
But what the MBF is saying, Middle Belt Forum, what they are saying is that, look, all of these things we are talking about now were in the report, the Confab report, which unfortunately Jonathan did not reckon with. Buhari did not even reckon with it. Because most of the problems we have in this country today are embedded in that report. If only they could dust it up, and we'll find our bearing. Definitely we'll find our bearing. Talking of restructuring, talking of all sorts of things, state police and all of that, they are embedded in that. Constitutional review, everything is in there. It was a glorious thing that Jonathan put on the table, but he could not fulfill the things there. Because for once, he even made a mistake ab initio, that the unity of this country is a no-go area. And the report is saying, look, if certain parts are dissatisfied, there is room for negotiation. Where do we go from here? You sit down at the round table.
Yes.
Okay? If we want to continue in this union, fair enough. If it's not comfortable for us, then we'll sit down and negotiate. But he mentioned that first. Maybe because he was scared or something. But are we not talking about, is Tinubu not talking about
Confab for youth, sir.
Confab for youth? Not even that. He's talking about regional government.
Yes.
The North is against it. I mean, they have said it openly that they are against it. But Tinubu has suggested that, look, let's go back to the regional formation. Which we had just after independence. 4 regions, North, East, South, and the Midwest. 4. Was life better then? It's open for debate.
Exactly.
Yes.
It truly is open for debate. We'll now take a final story on the newspaper analysis. We're moving down to the aviation sector now, where we have, still on the front page of the Daily Independent, Emirates resumes operations in Nigeria 2 years after suspension of operations.
That's a shame. It's a shame because, I mean, we couldn't call off their bluff. We couldn't.
Yes.
If we had a very reliable national carrier, we will call off their bluff. Nigeria will be running from Lagos or Abuja to Dubai or to Abu Dhabi, as the case may be. We have not done that.
Exactly.
I'm sure the government has gone to beg them, please resume your flights. That's why after 2 years, we couldn't call off their bluff. And that's what our government should have done, ab initio. If you don't want to come, we will come to your country. If we I mentioned Ethiopian Airlines yesterday. Ethiopian Airlines, the best airline in Africa. The best. Yes. It's on record. All right? Where is Nigeria Airways? The other day, during the Buhari administration, they wanted to launch a Nigeria Airways. They went to borrow a plane from somewhere. They colored it, deceiving people.
Yes.
Whereas they were deceiving themselves. Yes. We have private airlines now. We should have been playing a secondary role to the national carrier.
Yes.
Yes. That's what happened before. In those days when we had Nigeria Airways, we also had the Cabo Airline, for instance, which was running from Lagos to London. But it was secondary to the national carrier. All the Boeing series, where are they now? We used to have a Boeing 707, even smaller aircraft like Boeing 737 and F-27. Yes. Good, beautiful aircraft. They're all gone. Completely gone. So where are they? Well, they have been mortgaged away completely.
That brings us to a very serious question. Where are they? Well, Providence Television International, being the game changer, will keep you updated as all these issues unfold and ways to tackle them on the station. On this note, I want to say thanks for watching. We've come to the end of the newspaper analysis segment. Sir, thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks also to our viewers who have stayed with us, quite tenaciously. I must thank them on behalf of the management and staff of the station.
Yeah. And so, on this note, like I would always tell you, we have so much lined up for your viewing delight. So, don't go away. Please stay tuned as the interview segment on The Morning Drive comes up next.